Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for another episode of Forgotten Gear Restorations. And we are going to tackle 1952 / early 53 Fender Pro. This is the 5B5 circuit. Full octal setup all the way across. This one's got a few little unique things that have occurred to it along the years. First of all, it was converted from a 15 to a 12-inch. This one currently has a Celestion G1250 in there. And then I know from the owner giving me a rundown on it that I'm going to need to, in particular, give some love and attention to the output transformer, which is probably original, but it needs to be securely fastened, and then I need to do some proper leads over here to the speaker. So why don't I remove this rear panel? It's probably going to have a little scratch and sniff asbestos on it. We're going to be super careful working around that, and we'll just take it from there. All right, all original. With the chassis is all original, with the exception of this little dude here, which looks like the original transformer. But watch this. This is there was a dude at the factory in the 50s and 60s named Fred Esper, and I've never seen one of his before. And this is his amp. This is one of the first Tweeds that I've ever worked on that was built by a dude at the factory. But I'll just give you a little sweep there. Look at this. It's beautiful. All right, Chris, here we are at the bottom of your amp. I got it chucked up into the chassis stand. And I am greeted to, well, with the exception of what's going on here, this is the original output transformer, but there's something funky going on. So this will have to be remounted, and then I'm going to find out what's up with this tape. Where are the end caps? I don't know. I'll see what I have. I'll see what I have on hand. I may have something that will fit that, but if I don't, then that's just going to be the way she is, and we'll take it from there. But I'll certainly do, it just looks like the gentleman, the prior gentleman, made an effort to add some strain relief, and he sort of whipped up a bit of a harness with this tape. And that's just what it looks like from this guy's perspective. But we'll find out. I'm going to remove this, actually. And then the tubes, these tubes, you may not be able to tell here, they're a little canted this way and that way. And that's because it's on that little suspension system that they used to do. But it's also because you have a couple washers here that are creating a bit of a space between the socket and the tube base. And what it's doing is it's actually placing the base just almost out of range. We're getting some decent purchase on there, but I can see why they did that, because the heads of these screws, the heads of these screws here are gonna come in contact with the bottom of these tube bases, and then you won't get full insertion into the socket. So not a big deal with it being the way it's been for the last 70 something years, right, or more. So just a beautiful, oh man, just a beautiful example of one of these amps, man. I gotta tell you, it's really something. All your caps, all your electrolytic caps need to go away, especially the filters here. You probably can't see. You probably can now. There's a little eruption there, right? You see down here? by this chopstick. Let's see if I can get some. You can probably see that now. But they're all kind of like that. So there's vents on the anode or the positive side of these caps, and what happens is when there's a lot of pressure, they start going bad, and then the inner electrolyte material starts to force its way out. So these are drying out, and no doubt they're starting to act more like resistors than caps, and we want to make sure we preserve these old transformers and tubes. So you're looking at this so far. You have this cap here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then these 5. This is for your bias supply. That's the cathode bypass cap, and we need to get rid of that guy and put another one on there. That's like 25. Well, pardon me. Yeah, 25 at 25. And then otherwise, you know, looking pretty good. It looks like maybe when I don't see it on the chassis, but this almost looks like one of the caps from the 70s. So maybe it went back to the factory, or maybe the tech who performed this output transformer business here also changed this guy out. That looks like the only unoriginal component there. I've just never seen a cap like that in one of these, but you know, this is my first rodeo with this Pro, so I don't know everything, but I know that Freddie Esper did a great job putting her together. Beautiful solder joints, nice layout. So I'm going to do your power cord. I'll get rid of this original death cap over here, and we'll take it from there. But first, why don't I see how she's playing now, and I'll monitor this thing on a current limited supply so we ensure that we're not going to have any fireworks. So stand by. There we go. And then let me get I have a little plug that I whipped up for amps such as these. So let me strip an end of this guy. I'll strip some bare wire out. All right. So basically I connected some alligator test leads with 18 gauge wire to this plug here. And where's my negative? This is the positive, right? Yeah. Here's a negative here. It almost doesn't want to close on it. There we go. All right. So let's plug her in. And we'll do a warm-up. We'll just see what's up. And I'll just plug into any input here. There's a microphone and an instrument input. I'll just go in to any old input. Feels a little gummy. Let's bring the volumes down. Volume and tone. And get the current limiter going. Let's see what kind of voltage we're set up for. I'll put her at 110. Okay. And there's no standby switch here. So let's see what's going on. Oh, silly me. So silly. What a silly dude. I should plug it in. Rough night. Ah, the kids just came home from school with some kind of funk, and then they passed it on to me. Now I got it. Is she even... There's no signs of life. There we go. We got some heaters going. Looks like the pilot lamp is out, though. Let's see what's up with this rectifier tube. Are we going to get some light there? a nice dull cherry glow in the current limiting bulb that's in series with the outlet. Doing what it's supposed to do. We're not getting any... The rectifier does feel cold. I'm not seeing any filament activity, just a little bit. Talk about slow warm-up. Let's move her off. So DC on the pot or just dirty pot? Wow, hardly any background noise on her. And then I'm tempted to say that most of that's from having an open jack for my signal generator. Let's get a signal going. We'll do 400 hertz. I'm not going to sweep it just yet. Okay, these need to be cleaned out. Very touchy. Wow. Okay. All right, so wow, the old 70-something-year-old power tubes are just a little microphonic, nothing bad. The silk screening on the bases are just a slightly darker towards the glass envelope than they are towards the pin side. Not bad. Well, I don't feel that far off from the envelope. Wow. Chris, unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable. So here's the idea. I'm going to run some, if it's possible, I'll see if I can run some new leads to the back and create a true strain relief. And then we'll run a twisted pair of wire down to the speaker terminals, and then we'll take it from there. But it's very promising. So I'm actually kind of curious. Let's see if there's any DC on these pots. Just go halfway up. I don't need a signal in there for that. I don't need to see what it looks like. I just need to see what kind of AC we're getting out of there. Or DC rather, and then we're gonna know. We're gonna know everything we need to know. You guys, pardon that in your face. There we go. Very cool. Chassis like this. Okay, and by the way, the whole thing is spectacularly clean. About 120, about 30 millivolts DC on the mic channel. Wow, 14. Oh yeah. Is that this guy? Yeah, so I do need to change a couple of the caps there. There's about 2 volts present on one of the pots. And then now that I'm looking at it, I see a broken solder joint where that cap was replaced. It looks like the guy just tacked it in there. I'll get in there and clean all that out and make sure it's the appropriate value. But yeah, she definitely needs a cap job, even though it's not exhibiting a lot of noise right now. These are These are starting to, they're ejecting the electrolyte outside of the casing, so they got to go. But dude, great news for the health of the tubes here. Great news for your transformers. I do have to take some measurements, but dude, honestly, great news, right? And that's it. You get to keep most of your caps, all the signal caps there. So we'll see what's up. I may recommend changing these Astrons that are going over to the phase inverter, just because Astrons are Astrons and that's what they do. But aside from that, wow, beautiful. Now, here's another thing. These guys are crispy, in particular this guy here. So I'll replace those cats too. And here we go. We're prepped for the new filter caps and the bypass cap, the cathode bypass cap rather. Then here's that little death cap, or safety cap as they call it, ironically. So I will be removing all this stuff and replacing it with a grounded power cord. And then we'll just finish working our way through the amp. All right, Chris, so you can see, I'm sorry I'm handheld. I got to move this thing around a little bit. So you'll notice some crusties down there. I've been scraping away at it. And it's basically because these caps were leaking. So I cleaned it up from the board. You have your new caps, new resistors there, new electrolytics. I have your power cord all set up with a nice little solder joint there, and I need to clean up the rest of the flux. So I'll give you an update soon. Okay guys, having completed the electronics portion of the restoration, I can move on to the more mechanical aspects. Chris, I was able to get your pilot lamp working again by putting in a new bulb, and then I had to use some chemical cleaner so we can get positive contact inside of the socket. So now I'm going to focus on a power transformer, which, as you can see, and this is a real common thing with some of the larger transformer fenders. You can see here that it's just been subjected to a lot of force. And then on the latter models, they included a bracket around the top end here. And then you would see that little machine screw hole at the top of the cabinet. And that would resolve this issue or prevent it from happening. But I'll go ahead and bend that down. And then you're missing a machine screw or self-tapper on the upper right hand or 2 o'clock position here. I'll take care of that for you, and then I could focus on the output transformer, which appears to be original. This is an old Triad unit. There we go. That looks a lot better, huh? And I went ahead and secured the other end as well, so there's no worries there. So see what we could do about that output transformer. So there's that transformer. And again, my theory and assumption is that the purpose of all this tape is hopefully not to hold the frame together, but to provide some sort of strain relief for the secondary leads. So that's what I'm wagering on. That's what I'm really hoping for. Let me see if I can move this camera. All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay. So there we go. I really hope this frame is going to hold together. Okay. So let's get my little buddy. All right, good news, the frame is holding together. So I'll clean up as much as this of this as I can. And it looks like our theory was correct. It's just to provide support for these guys so they don't get yanked out, but I have a better idea. So I'll be right back. But before I do that, let's see if I can get you another little angle on it. Snare there. All right, Chris, so here's my solution. Just rerouted some of the wiring, should be nice and quiet. Everything's just beautifully reinforced. Even around here, I have ample strain relief. And I'll see if I could just slightly tip it up and show you. Nothing's stressed out there. Then I'm repurposing this guy right here for the speakers, so pull on it as you may. It's not going to damage your output transformer. And then these guys are nice and tucked away, so we'll see. All right, let me get you a little sweep downward. Despite the way the output transformer wiring looks, there's no hard angles there. So I'll see if I get a little play test. All right, Chris. So your 52, 53, early 53 Tweed Pro is ready to go. You have some microphonic tubes all the way across. Just bring them up in here. Just completely normal for tubes from the 50s, right? Unfortunately, I do have to remove one more cap, and this will be the first and only signal cap that I need to remove because she's leaking a little bit of DC. And let me not electrocute myself today. It's going to be this guy right here. I was able to get all the noise out, and I need to refer to the schematic to see if this is the reason why we just have a little bit of noise left in this mic pot here. But also, again, I mean, these tubes are a bit noisy, so you could roll some through there and you'll be okay. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and change this guy out here, and then we're in business. I think she cleaned up so well. And then again, you have Esper's tape here. That's a Freddie Esper, again, who was around Fender between 1950 and 1960, so he certainly sat with the ladies who were putting these guys together. And then you can see here that everything is just rock solid now. Nothing's going anywhere. Everything came out really beautifully. So I'm very pleased with it. I hope you're pleased with it as well. There's a little bit of noise from her being open, and she's in an ungrounded, isolated power supply. So you're gonna get this kind of stuff here as I go across. It's actually less now. So maybe the tubes have stabilized, I'm not certain. But yeah, I'm very pleased. So maybe I can get some sounds after I go ahead and change out that cap, and then we'll be in business. That's just the way it goes. Esper, I know you're not around anymore, buddy. Well, I'm just guessing. Unless you're just incredibly lucky, and I hope you are. I just want to say you did an amazing job on this amp, man. So there's no more leakage there. However, a little bit of noise remaining on those pots, and I'm just guessing that it's just these microphonic tubes, but otherwise pretty good. All right, this is cranked up all the way with some very noisy tubes, so that's what you're hearing in the background. Test equipment back there. Wow. It's like a loud champ. Let's bring it down. That's all the time I got today. Chris, thank you for letting me hang out with your amp here, buddy. Hope this finds you guys well out there. I'll talk to you soon.